Okay, so earlier we studied bending moment and shear force diagram in your simply supported beam, and we have studied different types of beam. Right now, today we'll study bending stresses in beams. So what is the bending stresses in beams? So if this is the beam and I'm applying a load of W, okay, it gets deflected to this shape, right? So you have come across tensile stresses, compressive stresses and shear stresses, right? So today we'll study the bending stresses. So what is the bending stresses? These are the internal resistance to external force which causes bending of a member. Okay, the internal resistance to an external force. So I am applying a external force of W, right? And the internal resistance given by this member is your bending stress, which causes bending of a member. So when I apply a load, your beam will deflect it in this way. Okay, this is giving a bending action. So stress generated due to this load or due to this bending effect is known as your bending stress. Okay, when you apply load, there will be one more case of shear. Okay, due to shear, your beam can break into two parts. See, if this is the AC, suppose the beam is it breaks into two parts at this point. So it will break into two parts, A to C and C to B, and this is the shearing effect. Breaking into two parts is shearing effect. But today, as we are concerned with bending stress, so we'll only look the what are the forces generated due to only bending action. Okay, so this bending stress is denoted by sigma B. As we know, stress is denoted by sigma and B suffix is the bending. So this is sigma B is your bending stress, and its unit is Newton per mm square. So hope you have understood what is bending stress. These are the internal resistance to external force which causes bending of a member. Okay, suppose you have been given a simply supported beam. Okay, this is the simply supported beam. Every member, every cross section has a neutral axis. Neutral axis means where all the stresses are zero. Okay, you will have all the stresses as zero. So this is the neutral axis of the beam. Now when this beam is get bends, the upper layers of the beam is it is subjected to compression, and the lower surface of the beam is subjected to tension. Okay, suppose consider this is the simply supported beam supported at A and B, and a load is applied W. Okay, and it is of length L. When a simply supported beam is deflected, it will bend, and the upper layers of the beam will subject it to a compression, and the lower part of the beam will subject to a tension. Again, if you consider a cantilever beam, suppose this is the cantilever beam, a load is applied at the end, the beam will deflect in this direction. Okay, now in this case, your upper part will subject to a tension and your lower part will subject to a compression. So more clearly, let's see. I have drawn here more clearly. So this is your cantilever beam, right? It has deflected in downward direction. So this part, these layers, this is the neutral axis. These layers will subject it to a tension, and the below layer will be subject to a compression stress. And in simply supported beam, your the upper surfaces from neutral axis will subject it to compression, and the lower part will subject to a tension. So understood what is bending stresses? Now we'll move to some assumptions. Okay, what are the assumptions in theory of simple bending? So the number one assumption is material of the beam is homogeneous and isotropic. So you have come across these two words many times, right? Homogeneous and isotropic. So what is homogeneous? The whole section of the beam will be considered of same material. If it is made up of steel, the whole beam or section will made up of steel. And isotropic, all the stresses in all the direction will be same. The material properties will be same. Suppose Young's modulus. Young's modulus will be same throughout the section of the beam. Next is beam is straight before loading and remains straight even after load is removed. So it says that when you apply a load, before applying load, your beam will be straight. Okay, it won't be in bending condition, it will be a straight. And when you remove that load, your beam will come back to it will be remain straight when you remove the load. So this assumption is related to assumption number 3, which also says that it is stressed within elastic limit and follows Hooke's law. That means stress is directly proportional to your strain. So you can stress your beam within elastic limit. You can where stress is directly proportional to strain. So when you apply a load, it will be deflected, and when you remove that load, it will come back to its original position. That means this beam does not have permanent deformation as per these assumptions. Next is beam is subjected to pure bending, no shear force. Pure bending means the beam is only experience a bending movement. Okay, it does not experience any shear force. The shear stress are not to be considered. In pure bending, your beam is failed or it is experiencing only bending. Okay, there is no shear force in the beam. So this is the case of pure bending, where shear force is not considered. Now let's see the fifth assumption. The layers at the neutral axis does not take part in bending action. So the neutral axis of the beam, suppose if this is the beam, if this is the rectangular cross section, this is the neutral axis which is at center. Okay, so at this layer, the layers at the neutral axis does not take part into the bending action. It does not take part in your cross section will bend. These layers will not take part because at neutral axis there is no bending. Okay, so hope bending stresses, you have understood the bending stresses. Then we have studied the assumption. Now let's come to a formula which is also known as flexural formula, or you can say bending formula. Flexural means bending. This is very important formula which gives m by I equals to sigma by y equals to E by R. So here m is your nothing but bending moment. Okay, your m is your bending moment and it has unit of Newton mm. Okay, this is Newton mm, and it has moment of I is your moment of inertia for beam cross section. See, you may get a rectangular beam, you may get a circular beam, you may get any shape of beam, right? So I is as you have familiar, I think this word is familiar to you, that moment of inertia, how to find I in engineering mechanics. So moment of inertia will be different for different cross section. Circular, it will be different for circular, it will be different for your different cross section, right? So I am considering here as rectangular. So suppose moment of inertia for beam cross section and its unit is mm4. So m is bending moment, I is moment of inertia. Now let's move to sigma b. Sigma b is bending stress, we have discussed recently. The unit of this is Newton per mm square. Next I have y. So y is your distance of layer subjected to bending from neutral axis. Suppose if I consider a beam, suppose I consider a rectangular section, this is my neutral axis. So the distance of a layer, the topmost layer, the distance of the topmost layer from its neutral axis is your represented by y distance. Distance of topmost layer subjected to a bending from the neutral axis. So this is the y. Okay. Next is your E, Young's modulus. You are familiar with this E word, right? Young's modulus for beam material. You know, for different material you will get different Young's modulus. For steel different, for concrete different. So different material has different Young's modulus, and its unit is Newton per mm square. Now see what is R. R is your radius of curvature of beam. So suppose this was my beam. This is the neutral axis. Okay, now when I applied a load, this beam got deflected in this direction. Now this is my new shape of the beam, and this is the neutral axis. So if I considered a point from a center, suppose I am taking this point from this center, if I draw arc on this neutral axis, or if I measure the distance from this center to this is considered as radius. This is making a curvature, right? Curvature of a center. This distance is called as radius of curvature of beam. Earlier my beam was like this. When it get deflected, it changes its shape. This is the neutral axis. So r is the distance of the neutral axis from the center, is known as radius of curvature of beam, and it is represented by m. Okay. See, I you can find, suppose for a rectangular beam, if B is given, D is given, you can find the I value. And if this is a circular section, you can find the I value. Please go back to engineering mechanics classes, how to find these I values. So this is my very, very important formula of bending formula. You can also say it is a bending equations. Okay. So m by I sigma by equals to E by R. This is very important from examination point of view, from your competitive exam point of view, from GATE point of view. Many questions came based on this formula. Okay, this is also called as bending formula. So m is your bending moment, I is your moment of inertia, sigma is your bending stress, y is the distance of topmost layer subjected to bending from neutral axis, E is your Young's modulus, and R is the radius of curvature of the beam. So in the next class we will discuss the derivation, we'll see the derivation of these equations. Okay. Thank you.